Um, Sometimes it really feels like, what is the point of talking? And I guess it depends on who you're talking to. But I'm starting to see that there are two kinds of people, which I would classify as human beings and the you know the other category would just be like, I would say, non-human beings. So if I was to define what a human being is, it's somebody that wants to be pleasing, or that wants to be good, that wants to do good to human beings, the general pool of human beings. So what I'm looking at is this beautiful human being that I found on YouTube, Dr. Robin DiAngelo, and what was beautiful about her is her work. So I need to make that clear. I'm not even her body, her race, her skin, her gender, none of that matters. It's it's the work that she produced and which she um, delivered to humanity. Um, a real doctor, someone that brings healing, because it was enlightening. It was like something was able to illuminate within inside this dark area that I couldn't really see clearly in. And that's probably because I'm missing various perspectives, and specifically from her point of view and the point of view that from the group and just everything that she comes from. I don't have access to that, so uh, so yeah, just her work of art, and it's still in progress. Um, and I want to talk about just like where we at, to me, in terms of being civil. So, and that's the reason why I go with these two distinct groups, which is human being and non-human being. Now I don't want to put any derogatory term on the non-human being, but it's quite clear that if somebody, you know, as a human being, I'm biased and say you should want to be human, and I do think human beings are the best. And I think they, this is why we're here, is for the development of human beings, to raise human beings to their highest level of potential. So the non-human being category may just be like some kind of umbilical cord or just something that's temporarily needed in order to be able to receive certain things from them, just so that we can use it to help hasten our growth and development. But it's clear that you have, um, I would just say, people. So we got two types of people: human beings and non-human beings. And what makes anybody could falter into any one of these groups. Today I'm speaking to you as a human being. Um, I woke up. It could be said I woke up as a non-human being, you know, and so I had to check myself and get my mind right. Um, be clear about what it is that I want to do towards humanity, what it is that I want to give or present, and even if it may just be this video or whatever, is something. But there's a concern. Uh, there is a concern, and I think that's what really makes a human being. Is someone who has a concern for the general well-being of the world, and that concern basically is towards how do we bridge the gap between these uh, these like fights, these wars, these groups that are dividing humanity up. And so what I saw with her work, um, is, like I say, I saw beauty in it. It had these qualities that, um, inspiring, enlightening. Um, this is the only some of the words that I can think. My vocabulary is not that extensive. And the response that I saw from it was this, it's just a negativity, right? So that's why I wanted to talk about human beings and non-human beings. YouTube is not a safe place, basically, for human beings, but it is a place, nevertheless, that has a global reach, that can reach out to other human beings, but it's not safe. Meaning that the non-human beings, basically, um, it's like a free zone for them. Just to somebody would spend 20 years doing research, devoting their time, energy, and effort towards producing something that will benefit others for whatever reason, and they're able to basically package that information into a book, or using audio and video technology. And so YouTube just is like a market or exchange for these ideas. And somebody put it out there, and let's say I didn't. Let's say I didn't agree with it, which there are a lot of people who are lots of ideas and stuff that's put on YouTube that it doesn't. Maybe I think it's false, maybe I don't agree with it, but how do I know, first of all, if I don't agree with something, how do I know? How can I move past my own narrow point of view, countering my own biases and prejudice, and just be able to hold space for things that I don't know? How can my attitude be such that I just assume or I just feel like I know everything about the world? This is a clear sign of a mind that is closed off to new information. And if you're closed off to new information, then any information that comes in which is not already in there is going to be rejected and denied. So I want a closed-minded person. This is the thing, a closed-minded person would not even be really looking at it on YouTube. Probably other than just trying to maybe find things for amusement purposes or entertaining purposes, but for informative purposes, they wouldn't even be looking. So that's one. Two, if they did look and did find something that they didn't agree with or the need to attack that person. The need to attack that person. So much so that you will make it public that I'm slandering this person or I'm attacking this person or I'm basically committing a like I'm trying to injure this person on an emotional level. And really just conceal their work, you know, destroy their work. This is and this is the main thing that I think as human beings, and I position that as always a choice. Is I like the term. Obviously, I'm borrowing from it's already out there. Um, but human being denotes action. Action indicates thought, and so before the action, one had to actually think on some level, even if it was, how do I want to be? How I mean, before someone posts those negative videos, um, that was a choice that's made. But not even to get into the psychology of this kind of person, of this non-human being kind of person that just is tripping all of us up. Like, why would somebody choose not to be human? This is what I wrestle with. Well, and this is where I think all of our irrationality comes from, our insanity comes from, because they appear to be completely insane to me. Almost. I'm I'm Now that's if it was individually provoked. Like if it was an individual like me, in a sense. I'm not operating on behalf of a group. Um, Physically, I'm locked in to this black group, and whatever that means, just my skin color puts me in that group. Um, the group that I choose to be associated with and to be influenced by is B'nai Baruch. So, those are the groups that I am connected to. One is by choice, and the other one is just by birth. But never the case, none of those groups basically, well, B'nai Baruch and this black group are very distinct, different groups. Um, the group, the black group basically has one main desire, which is equality and humanity. So this black group, who consists of, like I say, there could be human beings in this group or not human beings, but the whole group is basically labeled as a non-human group. And I think that's where all the confusion comes in at. So in this black group, they just say, hey, this whole group right here, they're not human beings. All right, so that's like the first lie. And it's not like a complete lie. To be human is a choice. So are there people in that group who choose not to be human? Um, yeah, like I say, it's something that could vary. Just depends on how much a person values what being human is. How much a person sees that is the only thing worth fighting for and worth living for. Or I guess how much a person is basically close to the truth of why they're here and what's the meaning and purpose of life. So, but it has nothing to do with birth in a sense. Like you're born as a human and you have the option that's given to you. But so long as you are a person or you know a human, what I'm looking at just as the person before the choice is made. So they're just a human. Now how they want to be, I don't want to get into this wordplay, but people who's given an option. Oh, I can be this way or I can be that way. And this is what. But it's not something that can be physically identified or associated with, you know. It's not that if I put on this shirt or if I put on a tie or something like this, automatically it compels me to be human. It compels me to care about others or to have a general concern or to try to um, not harm others. There's nothing physical that will compel someone, or I would even say influence someone to do it. These are all inner things that have nothing to do with our physical substance, our physical body. So with any group that somebody wants to name themselves based on certain attributes or characteristics. So Africans, people who are from this particular landmass. But there are lots of things that you can um, see or group them together. They would have a lot of common, but it would all pretty much be all physical based. So we're talking about internality of a person, which is not even really taken as a matter of fact in the American society. It's almost as though it doesn't even really exist. There's this vein of like we're just gonna pretend that emotions don't matter, that people don't have feelings, that as long as you're not fit, everything is basically an appeal towards the body. And so where am I going is it just it gets down to this, that if you're a human being and you're under the domain, what I would call the American society, or you could say it, white supremacy, just the world dominion that I know of. You're in hostile territory. It's not safe for you. So the general collective society is dominated by non-human beings, by people who choose not to do the right thing. Not there is no. It's not that they're trying to do the right thing and they're making mistakes. It's that there is simply no intention on doing the right thing. The intention before the thought even comes is not necessarily to do bad to human beings, but to do bad. It's an already predetermination to do bad to groups of people. And so there's a lot of confusion in that. There's a lot of it creates a lot of insanity, meaning that you get into this group and it is out of the need to wanting to belong and be connected, which is a human quality. So, but the group that you connect to has these is irrational, meaning this group basically wants to. It has a map of the world, and it says, okay, these are humans and these are non-humans, and for these non-humans, it's okay to do wrong to them. It's okay to be mean to them. It's okay to be bad to them. And anybody who support these non-humans, it's also okay to be mean to them. It's also okay to be bad to them. So you got people who are doing wrong, but in their mind they feel like they're cleansing humanity of uh, of bad people. And so this is why it's so hard to talk about it. As soon as we start dividing each other up, so part of what they're saying is true, and it's just not entirely accurate. And that inaccuracy causes them to err in major ways, as though it. Come on, who wouldn't want to simply just be born and not have to ever think? Like, I'm just born in the right group, and it's comfortable for me. My group is empowered. My group, um, and this is specifically what makes a person this is the main thing that basically is causing people to lose their humanity by putting them in these animal like conditions where they're not focused on, they don't even see that we're in a crisis. They don't even see the crisis. And they basically just reduced to primarily being concerned about their own body, their own, you know, their own self, their own individuality, individual needs and things. Okay, so long as I get me a house, a car, I got food, I got income, I got stability, and okay, that's it. I don't care about anything else. Just want to maintain and keep these things. But what about all these people over here? Well, they're part of the non-human beings, so you know, it just doesn't have any effect. But what if if that individual found out, or that person found out that the reason why you have all those things is because the group that you are born into has stolen their humanity in order for you just to have, and not even for you, that person who has the car, the house, all this stuff, they still have burdens and they still have worries. They still have a lot of things that they have to mitigate. Um, but it's rather the group that they don't see that set them up in that position. Basically, in a sense, you're paid as a shield, you know. And that's why a person is not growing or developing or moving. You're basically paid to be a rock, just a wall. You are the wall. Just so for this, whoever this one group that rules the world, we can determine their character, the precise kind of character they are. Um, they the rules of the world, obviously, or everything seems to be aimed at sexual exploitation of children. So you have this kind of group or society that where men, um, a select few men, basically goes around and just have sex with a bunch of all kind of children. And that's how our world is constructed. So as one man, he said, I want to have sex with all, let's just say specifically little boys. Okay. But see, I can't go to some little boy because that little boy is attached to a parent or parents. And let's see how that flies. It doesn't. So in short, we got this huge system just to bridge that gap for that one man to be able to have sex with that little boy. So he has a sexual desire or something like this, some beastly desire gotten into him. And in in order to fulfill it, it's like, okay, we're gonna destroy all civilization. So just think that doesn't matter where you're at on this, what's from that little boy being, I would just say, sent to sent to be really killed in a sense, destroying that child's spirit. that's the whole. That's how the whole system works, and everything else is just a redirection or a version on that. And the little boys who are the most vulnerable and who are the pretty much pick of the litter are black boys. That's why you don't see too many of them um, surviving their childhood and going into manhood. They're not even told that they should be men. No one is told that they should be men. Everybody in the system basically is essentially bound down to this man or group of men who likes little boys. We don't even. And the reason why I say is it's a it's not a social desire. It's a beastly desire, and obviously it's a twisted and 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 perverted or something. Something is it's almost like a disease in terms of its function. It's not it's not healthy. It doesn't. This should be something that we don't even need to go into reason or rationale. But the reason why it's so hard to talk about it is because, like I say, the system. This is what the system is about. And so, going back to this white fragility thing, this lady who just discovered something, and all of a sudden you see all this blowback. But this is structured. This is a group that is attacking this person, this lady. It's not like a bunch of individuals who are just you know free thinkers, or they're searching and trying to find. Um, no, like I say, a closed-minded person wouldn't even be. They wouldn't even be taking in any information that's going to go against their beliefs. They're probably just, for most closed-minded people, they're just stuck in some kind of entertainment spot and just, wasting. Or I would call it, if it's not adding, you're not growing and developing. I just say wasting. You just they're dead basically. And that's not to even say that, we all got to die sometimes, but the system, I blame the system. So everything I'm blaming is towards the society. Just towards even the person who's at the head of the society. Just the society. We're all bound and controlled by it. So going back, the society that we live in basically is built on delivering a little boy to a grown man for the purpose of, I don't just say, just an adult male, for the purposes of him. It used to call it sex, but to be more specific, is it's like sodomization. Like, I really don't know much about the how this kind of sickness is. I'm calling it a sickness because it's a deviation from normality. I don't. It's not like I have supporters, so I'm just talking in the air right now, talking to the future. But let's just say, yeah. So it could be rooted in power, and it could be rooted in this feeling of, oh, I feel powerful. I don't know what that is. Um, there are there are forms of pleasure that are so powerful that it can just take over and control a person. Say we know drugs, or a person can become addicted to, and you know they're not really in control of everything they're thinking. Everything has been hijacked by this drug, and they're gonna move towards in that direction. What's gonna get me closer to that drug? And we I see that on a daily basis in terms of drug addictions. Um, and I can speak firsthand. I'm weak to tobacco. I mean, I'm not even gonna go down the list as I drink my coffee. So it's not to blame that person who has a desire to have sex with little boys, but it's just simply to say it that this is what's going on, not to hide it. And I'm telling you, all the institutions, the religious, the school, military, and I'm gonna cover military separately, hospitals. It's a joint stock. It's like a body basically. You have all these various different parts that connect on some level to help execute one will, to help execute one demand. So if all the people on earth get together, we can have anything that we want. It just depends on whose will are we executing. And the will that we're executing is of this person. And say, okay, hey, I want little boys. And also little girls too. But I think primarily little boys. And this is where the blind eye effect comes in, because people say, well, it's we want to serve you, but we can't do it looking at you do that. It's like it's unsightly. It repulses us. You say, okay, well, we have to break it down then, and just do this little part, and then just keep looking down. Never look up, and just take a blind eye. Yeah. So that's the religion that we serve. The real religion has nothing to do with white supremacy. I mean, it's like one, white supremacy is really up there, but the one that's right above white supremacy is is that what I just described. And I don't have a. It's not like we have a common word for it, but I did hear. I would call hell Hellenistic, from the Greek Hellenistic. So you could see that we taking everything. If you look at the education, like I say, all these institutions, it's like they're trying to revert back, or not even revert back, but they're trying to claim, or this this Greek society that, let's say, existed, and 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 in these writings they describe the society where they described everything like, but they had a term pedestry or something for these men, and so this is really, and it was, I think that the religion or the culture of that society was referred to as Hellenistic. Um, and this is what's spreading basically. And this is everything. It was playing everything. It was playing all the industries. It was playing all this craziness that's going on in Hollywood, the movies, you know, everything you think about it. And I should note that a lot of this stuff comes with a heavy price of fear of people talking about, due to being assassinated, murdered, killed. And so I speak as, as an individual, be because I think we all have roles to play to get us to that point of connection. But in my case, my life has no value whatsoever towards the world anymore. So I'm already marked to be killed. I don't have a family, don't have any income, and really just living essentially at the level of a dog, which is very hard. So life, this is not really, in terms of living in this physical world, life is, it, I would say shocking. Um, it's just backwards. Everything is backwards. I guess the best way to describe it is, I never, well, I'm not trying to make myself seem like I am a human being. I try my best to be one. But one of the things that I think it was just from one of my starting points is to is to to have some sense of compassion for people who are physically handicapped. So if a person was not born with one, say sight or hearing, um, this your heart goes out to them. Um, so if I see somebody who's handicapped, you know, I never would ever conceive that there would be somebody that would use that to take advantage over them. So see somebody that's blind, I'm like, but there are people that do that, and I struggle with trying to like not absolutely hate those kind of people because I couldn't understand them. But where I was going is if you discover that the world is full of those people, that they're the majority, that they're ruling, and that they're everywhere. Because, like I say, it's like a disease that's spreading, and more people become corrupted and tainted. Then, you know, interacting with those kind of people is just, it's not fun whatsoever. Because where I was going is like a basketball game, best way I could describe it. And you're trying to play this game, and everybody knows what the sport is about. And there's a lot of bonding that goes into that. There's a lot of, you know, development that can be had on social progress between the members of one team and with the members of the other team, and it could be a way just to be able to really bond with somebody, dealing with the pressure of shooting and missing and all that. It's a lot of dynamics to the game. But if you're playing with somebody that doesn't respect the rules, that you can't check them on the rules. So this person is just they're not even they're just disrespecting all the rules. They're just going out of bounds. And then when you say, hey, you can't go to, they pull out a gun and shoot you in the leg. Would you want to even play that game with that person? No. And in fact, it would just be boring. It would be, like, hey, we're going to play basketball. We're going to play with, nah, I'm not playing with that person. I got better things to do than get shot in the leg by no reason. It's because the person just wants to win. They have to always win. And this is where how people are becoming. Now, and a lot of people don't see this, the spread of this, but being at the bottom, being poor, or marked as poor, marked as ultimately trash, basically. Like you're just a burden on society, and there's nothing. Society has nothing better else for me to do, or that, like I say, they're appealing to. I saw a man holding up a sign in terms of getting his wages. They were just standing on the street. So basically, you're paying this person to be a pole. And then I just saw it as just being cruel and humiliating. Like we have nothing better else to do with. But it's not that. It's that the person who's doing it is not human, or they don't see that person as human, and therefore when they have a person doing something like that, they thinking that, but it's I see it differently. I just see that, you know, you can't, you have to not be human in order to do something like that to a person. And there's a lot of this everywhere. Everybody thinks that they're doing good, but when you're at the bottom, you just kind of see everything. Um, for what it is, and it's just it's not it's like one of these unsightly pictures. Like you seeing this man doing all this, violating this little boy's body, and that same disgust, that same repulse is what I see with. So with the YouTube, you're not human, basically. It's not safe for humans. So that's why I basically I'm I'm posting this just for. Well, I want to show respects to these pioneers of humanity for their discoveries and bringing it to the forefront. And there's lots. There's, I never really ever got a chance to thank a tenth of my heroes, but Dr. Robert and DiAngelo. And I don't even want to go down the list because it might be better for me just to make a separate video and talk about those points that they were bringing up. And I didn't say anything really about white fragility, but just mainly just the the reaction to the subject. Like we're not a scholarly society at all. When information gets bombarded with um, just bogus attacks, these things should not even be. And you see, look at the videos; they're well funded, well, the quality and everything is opposed to my video. This is some guy with a camera. I'm not about to sit there and do all this editing just to get a point across. It's either the point is valid or it's not. And that's the magician's trick. They put all this stuff on the externality, but the internality is all rubbish. And so people are usually just fooled off of appearances. Um, but just to talk about this bashing of the and it's coming from a woman, you know. And I know she will be probably a little bit offended by me pointing out that she's a woman, but I have to get real. She is a woman, and I'm meaning that in a positive context as somebody who's basically, in touch with their feelings, or more naturally in touch with their feelings, as opposed to somebody like me, who had to spend a great deal of time and energy to even acknowledge, pay attention, and go through my feelings. And now that I'm a bit more mature and accepting my own feelings and how others make me feel, I can go into these things and see like, wow, this is disgusting. It's wrong. It's not wrong because a matter of a logical deduction. Is if somebody handed you a plate of feces and was trying to present it as food, you know, you would know. We ain't even got to have a conversation about it. But when the masses are blind by all this glamour and this, these quality videos, you think it's like, well, clearly a group of people had to been in on that. One person, so if I was working with a group, they would take this, edit it, they may, and I'll come off as some, it's just like product, you know, and Walmart. It's packaged, it's mass produced, and it's all the same. So you look at those videos, you'll see the kind of template. There's no originality in any of these videos. It's all structured the same. All the people are talking the same, using the same kind of dialect. This is a group, and I will also say that this group is not. It's a political. It's like what they call it. It's like an army, basically, and their job is to assault and attack, and that's what they do. And we thinking that they're acting independently. We thinking that all these people who are attacking, and some of it is just so blatantly wrong, blatantly offensive. But then again, it just lets us know that we have not moved past. We haven't grown 1 inch in terms of like this, if we call this and I'm basically, I use Western society and American society interchangeably, but it's easier to look at Americans because we see some of the grossest and most foulest and this the of what we can come out as human behavior. It's just the absolute garbage of the garbage in terms of the attitudes that was displayed towards people that were enslaved. That these people are already enslaved, and then you had this group of people who just was spit, lynching them, smiling about the lynching, like. So we already have the shame of the century in terms of that we could see, that was recorded, that was documented, in writing, and then with photography came out. Like he was like, no, this look at this person, like they're smiling while they, and then the stories that came out, it would, you know, you would be amazed. You just don't think that these things exist in a person. The nastiness and filth that come out, but it does. And when you have a group that encourages that for people to behave that way and says that it's okay so long as, you know, but put it like this: it's like you're selling your own humanity for some food. You know, that's how that's how pathetic it is. Like you're gonna give away something that which is eternal for something that's temporary. Like I'm gonna. So, you know, now, and they invoke that when there's somebody give you some of that, like you, it's like spreading a disease. Somebody give you all this nastiness, and it's very easy to be infected by that, and it just sinks into you. You gotta have a antidote. It's like getting bit by a snake. So I'm speaking of somebody that is working with the antidote. This is part of the antidote of talking. The antidote is one of the ingredients of the antidote is talking to um, who you're talking to. So I'm talking nobody. This whole video is basically for Dr. Robin DiAngelo. I'm not going to assume familiarity with this person. Do not know this person. This person do not know me. Um, it's not to say that we are one and the same. It's not to say that because I'm going to jump on the bandwagon as I see it as an opportunity to throw rocks at people who I dislike. I don't see her throwing rocks at anybody, and I'm trying to make also in that take it as an example. But as for myself, I just want to wash my hands clean, and I don't want, um, like I say, I don't want to somebody, you know, if I came out the bathroom like she was saying with toilet paper stuck to the bottom of my shoe or something embarrassing, I would want somebody to be if that's not doesn't supposed to be there. It's just, you know, only causing distraction and confusion, you know. So because we don't get a chance to talk. We don't have, like I say, a safe place for people to be able to talk about ideas in a freely way where it's okay to even um, have opposing ideas. Basically, we're going into this era of like-mindedness and this bullying, basically. So you got, you know, you're taking, like I say, a group of people want to bully, and it's almost it's like that classic story where a person spent years, I mean, dedicated the the best time of their life training, developing, and honing their skills to do what? To go kill children. And it's like, well, you didn't really need to do all that training if that was, you know, what you're gonna be used to do. Anybody could kill a child, man. That's what this was a this even the work. Say it's like a baby in terms of our thinking. It needs to be nurtured and developed, and they already like we this is suicidal. We try to kill anything that is new, and it's just a product of just we're in a sick society basically. It's sick. It's so sick. And for human beings, it is, and for like I say, animals and other non-human creatures who want to be whatever they want to be, they don't have a problem with it, so long as say like they hey, I got food, yeah, okay, well, even if the food is other humans that they're eating, it doesn't matter. This is what we call just like we call them like animals because that's kind of what an animal. That's how animals are. The natural animals, and they're not bad creatures. Like morality is not applied to them. It's just what they don't have a choice. I'm a dog. What do you want with me? I gotta be a dog. I'm a cat. What do you want with me? But as a human being, we can't say that. You're being an animal. We can't. It's hard for me to overlook. I'm not gonna ever say you don't have a choice. You have a choice. It becomes other human beings reminder that like, man, we gotta constantly keep raising that flag and choose to be human. You have not. I don't care how many people in your family have chosen not to be human. You still have a choice today, right now. But at any rate, there's no need to. I'm not even talking to like I say, these people who are impervious to any new information. Like you know, they close minded. Or it's not even that they're close minded. I really just think it. I really look at it as mercenaries. You hire some mercenaries to go in the village and say, we want you to kill that whole village. So they go in and kill women, men, children, everybody. And let's say they come across somebody, some little girl they gotta kill, and she says, why are you doing this? The morality of what that person is doing is they chose to be operating on the level of a dog or a level of an animal. And animals don't, they just, you train an animal to do something, it's going to do it. It doesn't think about what it's doing. It doesn't take responsibility over what of the training itself. Oh, I'm a mercenary. This is, whatever the case. I'm not trying to be mean spirited towards mercenary. I don't want them coming to me personally. Nobody wants them, but it just shows why you just can't. You can't. There's no need to talk to. There's no need. It's talking. It would be the same as talking to an animal. We do not talk to animals. We do not try to spend time trying to nothing. So if a person chooses to be the animal, then that's the first thing. That's the only thing is to insist that they should choose otherwise. But once they've already chosen to be animals, no need to talk to them. And that's what basically. So when we see all these videos and these, you know, in sync, like I'll say it's um it's political. People really underestimate institutional power and their influence, but I mean, they can pay for you know 500 million people just to have one opinion. That's probably only like 10 human beings on this planet right now. Now, I'm not taking in women and children. Um, like, cause we're taking all, they're naturally, they don't know, they haven't been given a choice. And so I guess this is when so I'm talking to Dr. Robin DiAngelo. That's what I'm turning to. And I know she was talking about patriarchy and things. Um, I I I see her as being more of a man than um, any man, really. So when we get into um, spiritual, I guess when we talk about things that's relating towards one's spirit, um, then I see there's this equality, and gender does not really does it like the biological physical gender. So she is when when she's yeah, basically her work basically is, you can say she's, it's just giver and receiver, I would say, in terms of the spiritual. Uh, so yeah, she's a bestower. So in terms of her work over me, is I was the one that was receiving it. Now I'm like, thanks. So I understand how it's not that it always has to be because your biology is a woman that you always have to play the role of the receiver. You always have to play the one who doesn't know, and this. I get that, and I'm not addressing that, and nor will I say all women are human beings. That's for sure not the case. Um, so all children, uh, and then I'll say, I think we're born human, and we're born connected and things of this nature. So, but I think the true lifespan of a human being is like 18, 17. But don't pay too much of this attention. Just what I want to say is that for those who after that you're at war, you're fighting. You may not know it, but you have to fight for your humanity, basically. You have to fight for your humanity. So, in short, that's why I say a human being is not. It has nothing to do with gender. It just has something to do with your behavior towards the world and towards other people. So this goes into this war between, so-called men and women. But like I say, it all, when we look at it from this one man, who's this person is the king, no doubt. They lead the whole world. We don't know who. We don't have a face. We don't have a picture. We don't, you know. This explains the whole bougie attitude, the snobbish attitude that we see from people in society. Where it's like they too good to even look at you or talk to you or live around you. Mainly simply because, like I say, everything makes sense based on this. What this man doing is unsightly. There's no growth in that. There's no human growth or development in that. There's only obviously degradation in that. So it's like it rolls downhill. You know, this person, say if that person is the sun, then the closer you're to it, you're gonna get burnt, or you feel the intensity of the heat until where I'm at. It's like it's so black, it's so dark. I got shades on, and I can look at the sun, and I can see it as an object and things of that nature without being blinded by its glare. So the person who's at the center of the world, this is their character. Everything revolves around this person. So this person wants to have sex with the boys. So this person is a man or a male or a man. You don't see him. You don't know who he is. Yeah, somebody who's the king of the world, they'll probably say Trump or something. And I'm not even gonna get into. It's either you see. I'm talking to people who see things and who don't. So the people who want to argue over the color red or something, the color blue, is an indication that they don't see color. They speculate. So this person, and it's just basically, because all you can give is yourself at the end of the day. All you really can give is yourself. And if you're not digging and working and trying to cultivate something that's worth giving to humanity, then all you're gonna have to give is what? Is your feces, is your sickness, is whatever. So where am I going with this? This is not a man. That's what I'm trying to say. Whoever that person is, they're not a man. They're not. They're not who I look up to, or what I strive to be in terms of what it means to. It's basically a lot of confusion. So we can't even. I don't even know what a man means to somebody. We don't have the same vocabulary, but um, because we're going by, let's just be real. We're going by this crazy person's reality, this crazy person's mentality and psychology. So nothing makes sense in that person's world. Everything is upside down and flip, left, right, right, left. Nothing makes sense. So I'm just talking to her now. Her spirit. So I mean, anybody who share her spirit will be able to understand, or at least have an interest in what I'm saying. Okay. Therefore, when somebody say that, I didn't want to get into the whole feminist subject, but this war of You know, I see it very differently. If this is You're supporting the wrong man. If this is the man that you put all your forces into supporting, then okay, you get what you deserve. I mean, I'm sorry, you get what it's like a natural consequence. If the person you serve is garbage, then you're gonna get back garbage, and then you're gonna complain more, and they're gonna give you some new garbage or something like that. But it's always garbage given back. You just complain and get back garbage. And we kind of see this in relationships with couples all the time, especially abusive relationships. It's just it's toxic. It doesn't go nowhere. And we always looking like, why does she just leave him? And you can invest your entire life in that person. That person's not gonna change. But the thing is, it's the humiliation that comes in. It's when we see like you're played a fool. We all been played a fool. But don't think that this person is the just because this person is in power, this person has all this influence. Don't think that that person is the man, or even the you could say, oh, he's the center of the world. He's the center of the world for animals, but not for human beings. A human being, we still have life. So I live in a different world. I live in my heart, and from that, when I go out and I show it to people, and those who want to come in, you know, like yeah, okay, well, you know, I have my own conditions or whatever the case may be, and some people, but it's a different world when but for animals who just looking for something that that's gonna fall into their hands, so that's the world of beast. That's what I want to say. The whole audience really that you're talking to is consistent of animals. And I know it can go out and maybe like out of all those people who are operating on the level of an animal, that may be like you know some human beings like a handful, or such as myself, and it could be in the future it'll reach. But that's the thing about we it send your love um, out in the open. Just let it go. If it's in you, and this is it's to the world, and it doesn't matter what comes back or what doesn't come back. But that's where the whole like confusion is the first mistake. It's like we put a dog in the middle of it, and we trying to do everything to get this dog to be able to talk, and it's like we never gonna get anywhere. Like the first thing is the person has to choose to want to be human, and it has to be. And we're past this lip service. Where are your actions? What's your story? Why? How did you get to that place? I could say my story is, I lived like a dog, just lived like an animal. That's all I was taught until I got to a point where I was able to see things from and I just saw that okay, I'm being led by animals, or people who just didn't have a heart, or was not prepared to show it, or was not showing it, and it was nothing you could do to win them over. That was just the it's almost like, like I say, it's that thing. It's, when it comes to, even with like friends, there's a sense to want to bond to where you can be at a level of friendship to where you trust that person. Um, with your bank account, you just trust that the person see is the role of that person see you as their selves. And if we work together on this, we can reach our own goals. Or with friends, typically they have a shared goal and they can reach that goal together by working together. And especially if that goal is at a level to where it's accessible to everyone. If you're trying to go to a goal where it's only one person can win, you already doomed from the start. And so is the friendship. It's just it's not even worth looking at. Like, it's just not even look at the whole journey and stuff. Why would I care of looking at people who are struggling just to get to a place where they fall off a cliff? Tell me the story when they get to the cliff and they decide to turn back around. That's when I'll look. Seeing people struggle in vain. So I'm gonna stop with that. Title this who knows? Who cares? Well, those that care wouldn't care about the title. But it needs to be something that's gonna get them. So I would say I say white fragility, but man, that's becoming like saturated. So we'll think.